Hello, everyone. I just wanted to get this out as soon as possible, even without a script, which usually I try to make a script for my videos, but I was just so excited to get this out. I just said, okay, I'm going to put it out and see who watches it, and just to get this out so people know my thoughts of the movie. And I have to say, I was skeptical. I thought it was going to be a corny movie. It could be propaganda, just putting out a message for the sake of putting out a message. But I was impressed. I was genuinely impressed. I saw history being accurate in the telling of a story and a message, and the two did not compromise each other, right? Where usually Hollywood, if they put out a movie, it's like, okay, I'm going to put out a message. I'm trying to win the audience over to make money. And so I'm going to take so many liberties to make a film about history, some historical figure or event. And here, I didn't really see that. I didn't see that with George Whitefield or Benjamin Franklin, and I that just impressed me. I think, in my opinion, this may be the one of the most, if not the most, just one of them, the many movies I've seen that are actually quite accurate, and this is one of them. I was so impressed with the amount of detail and effort that the writers and directors put into this, and I compliment them for that. And I just have to say again, I'm impressed. I'm wowed by it. Now, I'm just going to give a quick review of it, just a spoiler free, and then I'm going to move on and just get into the nitty gritty. So, for the next minute or so, just bear with me with the quick review. Now, when it comes to historical accuracy of the movie, they put in details that really did happen with both Whitfield and Franklin, and they rarely take any liberties, which I was kind of surprised. But like certain events, you're like, oh, that didn't happen. Like that couldn't have happened. That's just putting in there for comedy's sake, or I don't know, to make some drama. You're like, that did happen. It did. And even the little details of trying to give it context of what is happening during that time period, they add into that. And again, I'm not gonna like tell you what that is. You have to go see it yourself. But just um, they're putting in all these different characters that were real and showing, okay, how both Franklin and Whitfield changed the world they were in, and how they were like how they lived as men, and showing their flaws as well, which really impressed me. I was really impressed how they did show Whitfield's flaws, and not showing, okay, like this man is a man of God, he's perfect or anything. Like, no, like he is generally a man. And they showed that, and that made the movie feel more authentic, and that they truly cared about the truth, and that they really believed in the message that they were trying to convey with this movie. So it just absolutely go see it. It's worth your time. And if you're a Christian, you really enjoy it. If you're a history buff like me, you will definitely enjoy it as well. And now that's the end of that quick review. Now I'll get into the little details, or the mini details, as many as I can get to. But I'll have to have a later video, of course, to get to everything. There's just so much I was impressed with and I want to talk about. But first, I'll just talk about everything I've seen so far. So let me get to the context that the movie puts itself in, where it starts off, of course, with Benjamin Franklin at the Constitutional Convention in 1787, and he's not willing to talk. And that scene showed like the chaos that was happening at that time. Like the American Revolution was won, but afterward, you win the war, there's so much chaos because the economy tanked. You may win a war, but you have to also pick up the pieces of the destruction and the wealth that was uh, put into it and received from it. And so there's this chaos. They are completely divided. And even the scene where they're all in the building, Independence Hall, and you see men sweating. You see a fly on a guy's face, and the windows are shut. That was accurate. They shut themselves off from the world because they were afraid that the people would come in and hear what was going on, and they would just cause more division, and that show like, oh my goodness, like this whole thing's gonna collapse. So for the sake of keeping sanity among the people, they closed it off, and they show that in the film. And of course, the going back and forth between Madison, James Madison, one of the founding fathers, the father of the Constitution, as he's called, Alexander Hamilton, and Washington's there. But though he's in uniform, where I don't know if he was actually in uniform at all during the convention. Though in the later scenes, they do show that he was in the dress, as you see. not dress, excuse me, the correct, not uniform, but like clothing that he would be seen in with the Constitutional Convention painting that would be made years later. So that may be a little inaccurate, but they show that, and they go into, of course, the story of Whitfield going back to Franklin. And as he's going back home, you see people are starving, people are harassing his carrier, and like that is true. At that point, Franklin couldn't really walk that much. He had a problem with his knee. He was getting old. He's, I think, I can't remember his age, 70s or 80s at that point, but he's very old. He was the oldest man there. And so men had to literally carry him from his home to the convention, right? So they show that, and people are starving and they're eating scraps from the street. Like that did happen. So it just the chaos that is happening was put perfectly in the context of the movie. So like it was perfect. I credit the historians that advised this movie for that, adding that in, and also the directors for listening to them. Like thank God for that. And then okay, of course you get into the rest of the context of like I don't want to. Well, I'm gonna have a different section for Whitfield, so I'll save that for there. Just moving on to Benjamin Franklin, showing him the kind of man he was from an early age. He was very scientific. He was very outspoken and different from his father's beliefs. His father was more of a Puritan kind of Christian, and he didn't really agree with that at all. He later in life, when he got older, he did become a printer, and he did not hold to orthodox beliefs about Christianity. So he liked Christianity. He liked the teachings of Jesus Christ, but he did not join any church. He was not baptized, and he just really made himself independent from that. He did not fully embrace it, and they show that very well in the movie, and just show the growth of the man, where he was a deist at one point in his life. He was a deist who did not believe that God intervened in the affairs of men. And at the end of the movie, of course, when he gives a speech, uh, that speech did happen, word for word. That speech did happen, and he did ask the convention to um, pray. And many say that, or may not say it didn't happen, but they ignore it. They don't really admit that Franklin did say that. He was for that. He wanted them to pray. And there's mentioned by Edmund Randolph when he's talking to him that the Congress would pray before every meeting during the Revolution before, and that's true. Um, that might ruffle some feathers, so to speak. That did happen. So Franklin, as well, when he speaks in different scenes, they take quotes from him, real quotes. Like for example, that when company stays over, say they become like rotting fish or something like that. I think it was mostly paraphrased, and so they still integrated these quotes, so like to show the real Benjamin Franklin, and showing that his relationship with Whitfield was very accurate. And another thing is that showing his flaws, where he was in London, he was in England, and of course, like there's a lady that puts a hand on his leg, like he did, um, based on the evidence that I've seen, did cheat on his wife, or he was not loyal to her. There was a painting actually made by a man that had he had seen Franklin through a door, and he actually like uh, took a pen to or quill or whatever to a paper and like started drawing what he saw, and like there was Franklin was alone with a woman, and again like at that time being alone with a woman that you're not married to was very bad, and people didn't know about that, and I think that painting or that portrait or whatever, the drawing was made public. So that is true, showing his flaws. But also, I do want to again talk about the one scene whenever Franklin is first introduced to George Whitfield, where he is trying to calculate how far Whitfield is conveying his message, how loud he is. That actually did happen. Franklin said that it was about like several hundred yards he could be able to hear Whitfield's voice. So that was something they added in. It's kind of humorous, and I think that I really appreciate how they took that story and integrated it into it to make it funny, but also like that happened. It's not a Hollywood makeup of an event. It did happen. So I really appreciate that they did that. And along with Benjamin Franklin, where he's talking to Whitfield. The last scene you see with both men together, and he's wearing kind of a coat where like a fox skin on his on around his neck. That's kind of like based off a painting of him, more of a frontiersman kind of looking guy. That's actually a real painting that that's based off of, and I appreciate that they added that in. So that's a that's based off a real painting of Benjamin Franklin. But again, like the gentleman that portrayed him did an excellent job at showing the man for who he really was, flaws and all. Now, to the man George Whitfield, or the Reverend, now that was excellent. Where just from the very beginning, you see his upbringing. You see, okay, he's cross-eyed. I mean, most paintings you actually see of Whitfield, whether it be paintings or drawings, they don't really show that. I think it's just one that I've seen. They show that he's cross-eyed. People did not want to remember that, but like that's a key detail because it shows um, later on in the movie that he's persecuted because of that. He's made fun of because of that eye. That shows like how he had to endure that in his life. But again, back to his humble beginnings, he was in poverty, and he did take up acting because of endorsement, and was a servitor that went to Oxford, and he did join the Holy Club. That was a real club that John Wesley and his brother was a part of, and uh, there, as he's pursuing his career in acting, he wants to become a minister, a reverend, and the movie shows this perfectly. And whether or not he did go weeks without food, I don't know if that's true or not. I have to really look into that, but the rest of it is. And so he goes on to preach, and he's kicked out of the church, Anglican church in England, because of the way he talks. People don't like it. Now, in Bristol, England, where they show the scene where he's preaching to the miners, that did happen in 1739. So he did talk to them. Whether or not he was actually attacked by them, I don't know. But he did preach to them, and accounts do say that the men that heard his voice, they wept, and you could see on their faces where they had all this coal dust that the tears came down. You could see those, and people embraced his teachings. And he did go to poor, rich, like everywhere. He did preach on the go, on horseback, and when he did have a actual um, building to preach in, a church, he wasn't the guy that would be up in the pulpit. He would actually be down among the congregation. He wanted people also to share their testimony. So that was really shown excellently in the movie as well. And one thing that Whitfield talks about, his hesitancy to become a preacher, is that they're very boring. They're, you know, they don't really lack this. They lack the spirit, the conviction to do it, and that kind of goes in along the lines where he wanted to be different because David Hume, who was a skeptic philosopher of the day, uh, said of Whitfield, he's unlike any other preacher I've ever heard. He actually believes in what he preaches. And that was so unique to Whitfield, and he would get 20,000 or so people, more than that, in England. Now, when he went to the United States, of course, he got thousands upon thousands of people that rode horses, that walked miles to go see him. He was quite the celebrity in the United States, or what would become the United States, in the North American colony that made up the colonies that would rebel against Great Britain. Now, he goes and he does meet with Benjamin Franklin, and the two have a business relationship as well as a friendship. And the movie does a good job of just showing how the two will go back and forth, where like Franklin doesn't want to really embrace Christianity, and Whitfield's like, you have to do this. And so they did in real life go back and forth about that issue. But Benjamin Franklin definitely did see him, Whitfield, as a opportunity to make money, and he made a lot of money off him. And he admired Whitfield for his beliefs, and he definitely saw the good that came from it, and he endorsed that. Now, for Whitfield and his flaws, um, the last scene you see with Benjamin Franklin and Whitfield, where they're talking back and forth, and Whitfield is attacked by Benjamin Franklin, saying that, okay, well, you have a colony or the orphanage in Georgia, well, it's preserved by slaves. If it wasn't for slave labor, um, you wouldn't be able to have that. And so Whitfield admits his flaws for that. And like I commend the movie for showing this because this shows the real man. Like, yes, he was not perfect, because so many times in movies they do show like whether they're like they can't really make a nuanced approach to people. Either the person's really bad or they're really good, and it's like, can't you just do both? Like the movie Patton, where George C. Scott does an excellent job of portraying General Patton, flaws in all, glory and brilliance, everything, and that just makes it a great movie. The same for A Great Awakening; it shows the same thing. And so again, with like Whitfield, where he does die, he died at a pretty young age, and that was a great effect on Benjamin Franklin. Though I haven't really seen any documents supporting that, but I can only imagine or assume. But absolutely, it showed the great impact he had on the people. And now I just want to add on a couple more things, and just again emphasizing the importance of George Whitfield. That historians, I mean, I absolutely like when I was in college and learning about the Americas and the colonies. George Whitfield, of course, is brought up, though he's not really given the credit I think he deserves. Where during the Great Awakening, he was just such a influential person, along with the Wellesley brothers and John Edwards, that is also mentioned in the movie, where they did encourage people to go to church and really um, understand that they were still um, valued. Because the scenes were showing where he is cleaning the feet of the prisoners, and like he is really trying to lift people up and show them their value. And one thing that is kind of interesting, where he was a Calvinist, and so him and John Wesley actually did later in life. They had a division among them, and they kind of broke off from each other because John Wesley rejected this idea of predestination, where God would have people that are elected to be saved, and only because God says so. Like, your actions mean nothing. And so Whitfield disagreed with him adamantly about that, and so he said, "Well, God will choose who's going to enter the gates of heaven, and your actions really don't make any difference." It's kind of, again, going back to John Calvin many centuries before. Um, and so him and Wesley would, of course, bicker about this quite a bit. And but still, he showed people that you should be able to believe, because as it showed in the movie, many preachers were very, frankly, lazy. They were not very spirited. They were just, okay, I'm taking the paycheck, and like they're just not really. They didn't really believe in it. But Whitfield showed that, okay, like this is something to be truly believed in, and this is going to help people. This is going to encourage them, make them feel valued. And that is the thing, is that, and you can look through many sermons, as I've looked through some of them. I haven't written, not all of them yet, but I'm still looking through all of them, as many as I can anyway. And it does show a message of people's value, and you see that in the American Revolution. Like, people, credit is not given to the Reverend George Whitfield or other religious leaders, where like they did help prepare the colonies for rebelling against England, where they understood, okay, I have value, because I am a son or daughter of God, I have rights, and God gave them to me, not a king, right? And they really, uh, really understood that, because whenever they did complain about the taxation that was put on them by the Parliament, um, they didn't really get mad at that much. They did, of course. They were like, okay, you're kidding me. You're going to make me pay these taxes. But they said, you don't have my consent. It's like, I know I have rights. And also, I'm going to do a video on this one time, eventually, hopefully this summer, about the influence of the many philosophers and even the Bible on the Constitutional Convention, because there's a book, The Original Intent of the Constitution, by Donald Lutz, that explains how, well, they looked into, him and other researchers anyway, looked into 15,000 documents and tried to figure out, okay, what influenced the founding fathers, and the Bible was quoted the most, cited the most by them, more than even the great John Locke or William Livingstone. or no, William Blackstone. Forgive me. Um, so it still is a big part of our history, and people might get upset about that. I mean, that's just the truth. That is literally the truth. Where the Bible and many preachers did influence um, the ideas that went into the American Revolution. I mean, some of the ideas of taxation without representation, the complaints about that go all the way back from the early 1700s before Whitefield was born, and preachers were really pushing that in the colonies. They weren't that influential, but they sowed the seeds for it. I mean, that's just the truth. So you have that, and also I just want to compliment the little details that are showed in the movie that I always appreciate as a historian. That the time was put into making it look authentic, but also to show the time period that these people lived in. And again, I really compliment the everybody that was involved in that: directors, writers, costume designers, whoever. Um, I think that's all I really have for now. But again, I later on when the movie is actually out of the theaters and everybody's able to go download it or get the DVD, then I should be able to make a thorough um, review of it to just tell a story and like just how accurate it is. I mean, again, I was so impressed by this. I'm aside from like um, just being somebody who loves movies and who generally agrees with the message the movie gave. Um, I was like, wow, I you took the historical context and married it with a great story, and you made it great. I was so impressed with that. I wish more movies in Hollywood would do that, and hopefully they will take a lesson from this movie and how to make something historically accurate and yet still get your message across. Because I understand for directors and all the executive producers, you have to make money. I mean, if you don't make money, you can't make movies, and so like I understand making liberties here and there, change this, tweak this a little bit, but like here, they show such respect and reverence for the history and while also staying true to the message. And I just, again, it amazed me. So I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you all for your support and your interest in this. And again, I hope you all go see this movie. It is still out in theaters. If you can go see it, try to. And yeah, just take care. Stay vigilant and always, read and research. And, I hope you, if when you do see the movie, just you take a good message from it, from what it's trying to convey, but also um, really appreciate the history that is forgotten, and also don't forget about the history you learn from it. Like the quotes they take from Franklin and the details of what's happening in the United States at the time, that was real. That did happen. The things that happened to Whitfield, or what he did, was real. Flaws and all, uh, his acting, his preaching, his his very loud voice, all of it. So I hope you take it. And at the end of the movie, it does show like a message where I'm not going to spoil it for you, but like it's really people I think can take inspiration from it. Anyway, so I just look for that at the end. So like it was actually whenever I was watching it and people were starting to leave right before like they were going to show the ending part. I was like, well, wait. There's still some more to this, and then they showed it, and before people could just walk out. But it was very inspirational, and I just hope more people will see this movie. And again, Hollywood, take a lesson from this one. It'll really help you out. Thank you, and everybody have a good day. Bye bye.